Well, guys, I've done sold one of my project vehicles. Yeah, I've sold one of my project vehicles. Probably one of the more popular vehicles on the channel. My wife's happy, and so is Trucker Dave. If you guys don't know who Trucker Dave is, he's been a follower of mine almost since the inception of my channel. He goes by Main Trucka on Instagram, and he's headed up my way here this coming weekend, so I don't want to keep you guys in suspense. Let's go find out which car it is. Well, you know it's not going to be the Cordoba because, I mean, if you've been with the channel for any length of time, you'll know that I've had this car since 1995. I got married in 97. No, I didn't. I married my wife in 99 and met her in 97. So I've had this car longer than I've been married. Dale the truck, I just enjoy driving this thing so much. We've done a lot of work to it. It's coming off a long way. It's fuel injected. It's lowered. It's got the wheels and tires on it. I just love the look of this truck, and it gets so much attention. So, no, it's not Dale the truck. And, of course, the Yugo, well, you guys all know what the problem is with the Yugo, is that it's a Yugo. And, well, we've got the proper solution for this, and that is this car. A 2005 Toyota Yaris, and this thing is a 5-speed manual. It's got the 1.5 1NZ FE Toyota engine in it, and we're going to be plunking that engine setup into that car, and that is going to be the next project on the channel come wintertime when things slow down at work, and we'll get things set up inside the shop here. One of the vehicles that's made my channel so big over the last couple of years is Grandma. Grandma has been very, very faithful. Just regular maintenance. We put struts, we put ball joints, we put some exhaust on it. We got it looking really, really good. And at this point, it was my wife's daily driver until we acquired the Sequoia. But you know what? The Sequoia is coming up now to be ready to put on the lot. We've got all the things fixed on it we wanted to fix. It's time to sell it. So Grandma is staying. So that only leaves us with one vehicle, and you probably guessed it by now. Yep, it's Blackjack. And Blackjack has been sitting over here in the weeds now for so long that we've got to get it boosted likely. In fact, I think Junior's even stolen the battery of it for his parts car. So we're gonna get the battery back in it, get it over to the shop, do some of this maintenance to it so that I can get it ready to sell to Trucker Dave. So let's get this thing all set up, and we'll see what kind of work we've got to do to it. But for those of you who don't know what Blackjack is, this is my 2003. It's a Mercury Grand Marquis. It's an Ultimate Edition, so it's got the nice digital dash. And it had wheels and tires. They had Mustang wheels on it when I bought it. It was lowered. I'll flash a picture here up on the screen of when I bought it. We went ahead, we lifted it 3 inches, we put 31-inch tires on it, so it gave it a total of a 5-inch lift. We went and we put the roof rack with a spare tire on it. And, you know, other than that, we haven't done a whole lot. This thing is actually quite faithful. We had to do a little bit of maintenance items to it. We put a blower motor in it. We put a blower motor resistor in this thing. And it doesn't get driven very much anymore. Well, simply because I live here and my shop is like right there. So I walk to work, I come home for lunch, I don't get to drive much anymore. So, well, Blackjack's just been sitting here in the grass, and I felt, you know what? It's time. It's time to get this thing back to tip-top condition, find somebody who can love it just as much as I did, and it is time to let it go. So let's get the battery in it, we'll get it over the shop, and we'll start doing some work. We've got the battery in there. Let's go see if this thing's going to start, and hopefully, well, it's got power. Negative. And there it is. And Dave, it's not even smoking very much. not smoking at all. All right, so we'll get Grandma out of the way and get this thing over the shop. So that was a little bit difficult to do, only because, well, that steering shaft that I replaced in Grandma, it's got to be done in this one. This one's just about seized up. I can barely turn that with one hand. So I almost couldn't overcorrect myself coming out of the driveway. But anyways, let's go. All right, well, there's the old shaft, quite rusty. And if you zoom in right down in there, that's usually the joint that it seizes up and gives you all kinds of problem. And I've got a new one sitting right here. This is the brand new joint. And if you guys need to know the part number, it is a Dorman part number 425360. Not horribly expensive, but what a world of difference. Anyways, you guys have seen this repair before. I'm going to link it right up here in this video. I'm going to do it to this one, and then we'll get it up in the air. Get the back tires off. We've got to get that parking brake assembly put back together, because I never did put that back together on this car since we swapped the rear diff. So we'll get that done, and we'll check things over, make sure everything's on the up and up for Dave. We don't want to be selling him this car and him having to go do a whole pile of work. He knows some of the issues that are wrong with it. We're going to try to address most of them here today. All right, so we finally got the old one out. It wasn't without struggle. This bottom bolt here was seized in there pretty good. I had a hard time getting that out. As you can see, the whole thing is pretty solid. It's only moving in that one joint, whereas this one here kind of flops all over the place, and that is the way it's supposed to work. So we're going to get this thing in here, and hopefully that fixes the problem, because that's all you're getting, Dave. Okay, so there's the new shaft installed. Bolts went right back in with no issues. So let's start her up and make sure everything turns properly. Just like that. All fixed. Whew, it's warm in here. So I did want to check the ball joints, the tie rods, stuff like that, make sure everything was good. I'm fairly certain that it is, but you know, Dave's been a huge supporter of my channel, and I wouldn't knowingly want to do him wrong. I say knowingly because if I knew something was wrong, I'd tell him. If I miss something or something pops up down the road, I mean, after all, guys, it is a 2003. It's almost 20 years old, and it spent most of its life here in Eastern Canada, so you get little stuff like this. Dave knows what this car is about. He's gone back, he's watched all the videos, but nonetheless, everything's tight on this side. Same thing here. Not that I suspected anything any different. We're going to go to the back now, take the back wheels off, and we're going to pull the rotors, because I know we've got to do some work in there in the parking brake. So let's get those rear wheels off. Just to give you guys an idea of how bad the winters can be around here, this shock was brand new when I put this differential swap in. You go back through my videos, it was like a year and a half ago. This part that was protected by the dust shield here is still blue. Everything else, well, it's brown and scaly. The caliper pins here still come out fairly easy. But I did service all the brakes again, if you remember, from one of those videos. Still got the NECs on them. Still got lots of pad left on these ones here. Probably half or better. And the slides here, still free. Now, I'll try and get that thing off. Oh wow, imagine that. No parking brakes. Not only is there no parking brakes, the parking brake cable, they must have snipped that off at the junkyard when they went to go pull that differential. So as I suspected, we've got the same thing going on over here on the driver's side. So the little cable that goes in here, that hooks onto the pivot. So the pivot we're missing, and I'll flash that up here on the screen. as well as that little piece of cable with the hook on it, is what we need, and I don't have. So Dave is going to be coming to pick this car up in a couple of days, and I cannot get those parts here quick enough. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw $100 at Dave when the time comes, when I see him, and he can go get those parts as needed, and I will supply him with the brake shoes and the hardware kit in that white box over there, that he can kind of have a little side project and get some parking brakes on this thing. In the meantime, I'm going to put this back together. We'll get the car up in the air and we'll check everything else over and see just what else we've got to look at. So up here, everything is as expected. We'll grease the ball joints, the tie rods, anything that can be greased. And yes, we do have an oil leak. And it's either coming from the valve covers or the timing cover. I can't really tell for sure which. But I mean, it barely goes down. It's just a slight drip. In fact, since it's been sitting here, there is no drips here in the shop. We come back here. I mean, we got some scale, but that is typical of a car that's been sitting in the grass for the last, 6 or 8 months. It really hasn't moved. I bet you I haven't put 10 miles on this thing in the last year. But it does have dual exhaust. The catalytic converters are still there. Well, 2 of them are. We've got the X pipe and come down. And I did replace the fuel filter on it at one point. And the emergency brakes, the cables actually are still moving. So we've got movement up here. And you can see where it was moving. And back here, if I pull down the cable, it moves in and out of the actual cables themselves. So once we get those parts for the parking brake, the little tiny cable and the arm, everything should be good. We come back here, the differential is not leaking. The cover is a little bit scaly. Don't mind that where it says no oil. That was from when we bought it from the junkyard. We have put oil in it when we put the limited slip. Again, back here, we've got the nice long tips on the exhaust and just a little bit of rust. It's all surface rust, nothing to be alarmed about. And even up in here on that impact bar is still quite solid. So I think Dave's getting himself a pretty good deal, but there's a little bit of provenance here because I featured it on my YouTube channel, and this car does currently hold the record for the highest views on my channel. But then again, I'm just a small channel too. There's no real provenance here. I was just kidding. And the one thing that I did tell Dave about was that these rockers, as you can see, there's a hole right there. And up here, it's going to have some rocker panels done to it. And, this is stuff that Dave can work away at. This side over here is about the same. We got a little bit of a hole there, and it's pretty solid up there, but it's starting. Sitting in the grass certainly didn't help it. There's no real provenance here. I was just kidding. But at the end of the day, go ahead down in the comment section and tell me what you think is a fair price for a car that is solid. 4 brand new tires on it, the lift kit, and all that stuff, because maybe Dave needs to know whether he made himself a good purchase or a not so good purchase. And I know there's going to be some haters down there that say it ain't worth 5 cents, or I wouldn't pay $10 for it, and blah blah blah. Well, that's you. Don't be poo-pooing on anybody else's parade. This is still a good car. It's a great platform. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect, and I'm not selling it as a perfect vehicle. In fact, I'm doing this video exactly right here for that reason, is to show all the imperfections so that Dave knows exactly what he's got himself into. And he knows anyway, because I've been up front with him and he's watched all the previous videos, even the one where I jumped it. Yeah, I tried to jump this thing. But anyway, we're gonna hop in it, take it for a ride, one last ride, and reminisce a little bit about some of the things. You see, I may or may not have bought another Grand Marquis. And I may or may not have told my wife I was going to do so. So what we're up against right now is we've got a winch on this trailer that is a dud. It's slipping. It doesn't have enough power to pull the car up onto the trailer. So there she is, and we will meet it out to the garage. Already I can tell you guys right now, you either like it or you don't. This car is getting lifted. Today we are putting a 3-inch lift and 31-inch tires on old Blackjack here, so stay tuned. There you go, guys. There's my new pride and joy, my new daily driver, and the new content for this channel. So I hope that if you haven't yet done so, you like what I'm doing here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because we got lots more where this came from. Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got one goal in mind, and that's to take Blackjack and jump it over this little mound here. So we're going to stop the freeze frame right here. As you can see, the two front tires are off the ground, but I don't think the back ones quite make it. As you can see in this freeze frame, there is it's where that left rear tire wasn't touching the ground. Woo! I think we did it that time. Hey guys, my name is Jason and this is Olde Carr Guy, and for those of you who might be here for the first time, well, I got called out by DeBoss Garage to do a burnout. Throughout this whole video, you guys have known that I've sold the car and that we've sold it to Trucker Dave, our main trucker on Instagram. And we're down here where he's camped, and he's bought me a couple of beer and we're getting ready to show you the car in its present condition. So without further ado, let's introduce you to Trucker Dave.
Howdy.
And there's Dave with Blackjack and his new friend. I don't know if it's got a name yet, but we got the unicorn Sparkles. And yeah, and there's Elaine. She's been wanting to be on camera. Look, she didn't even tell me, and I know she wanted to be. So she's pretty excited about this as well. And you know what? I'm happy that Dave's happy. We've got the car in his possession. Very little trouble at the border. Well, the second time anyway. And we got it over here today at lunchtime. A little bit of a wait at the U.S. Customs, but here it is. It's Dave's car. He's assumed all responsibility for it now, as is, where is, curb and gutter warranty, all that good stuff. Sorry, Dave.
Third gear at 30 feet.
That's right.
Whichever comes first.
And you're already there.
And I'm already there. I'm already out of warranty.
Anyways, Dave, thanks so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. And we'll be catching you in the comments on this video.